Well, I would just say we're basically at a point in time where you can control the direction if you choose so. So why not let a gospel AI artist control the direction of AI, right? That means we can put the conversation of faith at the forefront of all that we do, even on the technological basis. So let's really talk about it. Let's continue to explore. Don't feel boxed in. No matter what your friends and family may say, if you have a song, if you have an idea, and the Lord is, pressuring you to get it out there, give it a shot. Don't be afraid of nothing. And you never know, right? I never knew. If I didn't try, we wouldn't be having this conversation, So I didn't know. I was playing around in the beginning. But that's how God works, right? He will take the dumb things of this world and confound the wise. Like, he does that on a regular basis. So just try to be useful, right? Try to be the light, try to be the salt, and just be encouraged. Give yourself some time and just do it. That's all I'll leave it with. Just do it.
All right, everybody, welcome to the show today. This is Warren Ballantyne, aka WB. I'm your host of Common Ground, where we try to find solutions to problems, not blame people, not point fingers, but try to encourage, help, and build up people, especially people who are doing wonderful things in all fields of life. Joining me today, look, let me tell y'all something. With this AI stuff going on today, this young man, this brother, has done something that is so amazing that honestly, I don't think anybody thought that this could happen, but he did it. Our guest today is Christopher Townsend from Philadelphia, Mississippi. If the name does not ring a bell yet, the name he created sure will. He is the mind, the heart, and the soul behind the AI artist the world knows as Solomon Ray. And let me be clear, Christopher is not playing small at all. He is an AI artist creator to hold the first one to ever hold the #1 single, the #1 album at the same time in any iTunes genre. He pulled off 9 Billboard placements in 1 week. He showed up on 6 different charts at once, and he did all of it while carrying the creativity himself. His releases in 2025 are already stacking: Find Your Rest, Faithful Soul, A Soulful Christmas, I Got a Song, and every one of them is coming from one thing: a real human with a real vision who learned how to use technology instead of fearing it. Christopher Townsend, welcome to Common Ground, brother.
What's going on, WB? Thank you for having me.
Brother, it's so good to have you on here. The first question I know everybody's thinking, Christopher, when did this idea hit you like, man, I'm going to create an AI artist?
Man, real quick, it was just a kind of spur of moment type thing. I've been hearing rumors about AI entering the music space since Timbaland and his AI artist Taza, and then also the major announcement with the record-breaking deal with Zanai Monet and Talisha Jones. So it really started to perk up my ears. I'm like, first of all, there's somebody in the industry that's co-signing this,
Right.
but then there's also money being thrown into it. So that tells me that something's about to shift, whether we like it or not. So I said, me and my friends playing the game one day, and I just downloaded it out. We said we're just gonna create some music for fun. I ended up creating dubstep. I didn't even start with Solomon Ray. I didn't get into Solomon Ray until the Lord kind of showed me a vision. He was like, you playing around, but this can be used in a powerful way. And I started to just, craft my songs around storytelling of my upbringing in Mississippi. Mississippi is the birthplace of American music, right? Per capita, we got the most Grammys. We got gospel, country, blues. You name it, right? And I just wanted to bring that out. Never been a singer. I always wanted to sing, but I did the next best thing was to rap. And so I've been writing for years. So songwriting has never been an issue for me. But yeah, I ended up creating a few songs, sent it to my family, and they said, this sounds really good. My nephew said, ain't no way AI cutting up like this. I'm like, yes, sir. And then what really birthed all this, my sister called me one day, and this is how I created Find Your Rest. I could just hear the stress on her voice. She was feeling down. And with me and her having a dad that does blues and guitar, and a guitarist live, I figured I would at least give her something that was relatable. And so when she heard one of the projects I've been working on, she said, I like that. And when I got off the phone, I said, since she liked that and she didn't care that it was AI, I'm just gonna write a song for her to kind of uplift her spirits. And when I did that, man, I sent it to her. She loved it. I started to share with my neighbors. And then eventually everyone kind of wanted to hear, but the easiest way, the most accessible way to share it was to just upload it to the streaming platforms. So I did that. And then for a while, I didn't really push it until I posted a video. And about 5 days later, it blew up out of nowhere. And here we are.
Man, I'm gonna tell you something. It's wonderful how God works in our lives, right? Because if your sister had not made that phone call to you, right, you
Mm.
may not have even written that song. But that call was necessary to push you where you needed to go. So that's such a beautiful thing in itself that have that relationship with your sibling. Now, I'm gonna tell you, I know you said you downloaded the app. Next question. People are gonna be like, what app did you use? What app was that?
Yeah, so there's a few out there, but I use Suno. And once again, that was the main topic of discussion during the time when I researched. So I downloaded Suno. There's a free version, premier version, and pro version, I believe. And so I downloaded the free version. I ran out of credits real fast because, you only get a certain amount of credits. And I decided to upgrade. And once I upgraded, I realized that there's a lot I can do because it takes credits to regenerate. Uh, Sections. It takes credits to generate new songs or however you want to do it, but it takes a lot. So it does take a little capital up front. I mean, but if you know what you're doing, you'll reap the reward.
You're from Philadelphia, Mississippi. A lot of people don't have never heard of that town. I actually know Philadelphia, Mississippi. I think I've been in there twice in my life. But how did that environment affect you? Because you can tell by the music that Solomon Ray is talking about. It's Philadelphia, Mississippi all day long. If you've ever been there, you know it. So let's talk a little bit about the environment there and how that affected you.
Yeah, so I grew up Kilmichael, Mississippi, which is the home of BB King, Fannie Lou Hamer, and everybody like that. So uh, I nothing but woods country, right? And
Right.
we went to church every Sunday. And my mama didn't go, but she made sure I went. So that's how important that's how important church was to us. And I sung in a community male chorus, and so many things I did that was involved within my faith. And so being in Philadelphia, Mississippi, does carry a certain weight to it, given the history, the magnitude of this place. But what I love about it is it's a really wholesome, God fearing, God loving place. Now, I mean, I obviously had his issues back,
Right.
earlier
Right.
in
Right.
history, but for the last, since what we've been here 2018, so for the last 7, 8 years, I experienced a number of love, man, from my neighbors to my community, and I just want to pour back into them. That's why I started my Bible quizzing ministry, where I'll go around quiz people about the Bible, bless them with $100. It's just so many things I did just to pour back in, and Mississippi does have this brain drain situation where we have so many geniuses, but they end up leaving because of the lack of opportunities or access to resources. And I've made it my mission to remain here and show people that no, you can do it right here from Mississippi. And this is just an extension of that vision. It's like we can not only, and people talk about that. I think one of the questions people raise is this one of the way to remove those barriers that are present? I think so. People who are creative but couldn't afford a band, couldn't afford a singer, couldn't afford a professional recording studio session. All
Right.
these things that have been eliminated now. I won't say eliminated completely, but been removed optionally. If you don't want to go that route, it just opens up the door for some more creative people.
Solomon Ray. How did you come up with that name? What is that? What does that represent for you?
Solomon, King Solomon, he's known for wealth and wisdom, and Ray is Ray of Sunshine. So I figured I have to be a wealth of joy when I create his music. But I landed on that name because I just asked ChatGPT to give me a list of names, and as I was going down, I was like, man, I really like the way Solomon Ray rolls. And once again, the meaning came after I noticed it. And I've been running with it. And then, unfortunately, if I would have did more research, I would have known there are some flamboyant Solomon Rays out there that may be counterproductive to who he is and his identity.
Right.
But, the light wins, right? That's how I see it.
Now, number one on Billboard and iTunes, and you made history with this. Number one single, number one album. I mean, literally, what went through your mind when you saw that? Because if that was me, I would be like, what in the world? Like, how did this happen? I would be questioning my own self, even though I created it.
Yeah. I, that's how you know it's a God thing, right?
Yeah.
Because 'Cause you question it. Like, if I knew
Yeah,
how to do it, I'd tell somebody right now, and I have another one out there. But some things God just put his hand to, he gets behind, and you just love looking dumbfounded because it's not about you in the first place. It's about
that's
him
right.
and
That's
what he
right.
can do for his glory. We just happen to sometimes benefit from it in the process, but ultimately it's about his glorification. So when I saw that, I knew I did something that was just unheard of. But that being said, it's not unheard of for me to top Billboard charts. I've done it independently as an artist, without using the industry help. So replicating what I've been able to do with Solomon Ray won't be easily uh, done again, right? You got to have, I mean, just kind of break it down to people. I have a background in marketing. I have a background in graphic design, video editing, web design. I have a background in social media management.
Oh,
I
so
know how
you knew a little something when you got it. You weren't just walking in there blind with it. You knew how to create some stuff.
I knew how to create some stuff, right? I spent most of my life DIY, right?
Yeah.
Learning and learning how to do stuff myself. And it just came to a point, right? Like it was a culmination of everything I built throughout the years. And I was finally I was finally, I finally found a way to use all that and bring it out. And Solomon Ray just happened. It's fun to me. What I want to encourage people to do, because they say there's no soul, there's no person behind it. In my eyes, it removes that unnecessary layer between you and God,
Yeah.
and you still receive that message, still receive that encouragement, that healing through the music. Oftentimes, we idolize the individuals, the singers, and then when they fall off, we fall off, or then we start blaming God. But God's like, well, fine, I'll put an inanimate person there, a person that's not even real. So even if something goes wrong, you don't mess up the connection that me and you have. That's one way I look at it. But some people, they may have issue with it.
Now, when did you? Because it had to come a moment in time when all this was going on that you said, "Wait a minute, hold on." Solomon Ray is now a real person for me. He's not just a character. He's a real person with a real career. Once that thought process happened, I'm hoping that you're thinking about what's the next song for him, what's the next album for him. Is that the thought process now?
Absolutely. I'm treating him just like I would treat myself. Some people have decided to release 40 to 100 songs in a month. Sure, that can be considered spamming, but the fact that I haven't and I have the ability to do so should signal people that I'm taking this very seriously. And AI is probably not doing majority of the work, which is
Right.
just want you to know. If AI was doing majority of the work, come on, man. If I could just push a button, I'd be making hit after hit after hit. Who would stop me? But no, I have a plan. I've already released the Soul for Christmas EP, and I got a song just in response to all the criticism, and I got plans to release another either extended album or a brand new album here, probably sometime in the beginning of next year. I find it. We're only talking about music that's a month old, so we still got a while to push and get it out there before we start throwing more stuff to it. But I will say I'm already collabing with some big time people, some big time rappers, Christian artists that want to hop on board and get along and kind of help solidify this movement. So I'm grateful for that. They reached out to me. I didn't reach out to them. So regardless of what they're saying on the surface level, there are a lot of people behind the scenes that's getting on board.
That's a wonderful thing, man. And you can tell God has his hands all over this because even the songs like Find Your Rest. Let's talk a little bit about that. What inspired that?
Yeah, so like I said, it was my sister's phone call. She called me and she was basically wrestling with, being, a single mother, finances, my dad not doing too well, trying to help him out. And you know how life just gets
Right.
overwhelming. And she was saying that she was trying to find strength in her faith. She was getting back into her faith on a regular basis. And once again, being a Christian, our goal is to encourage one another. So when I got the phone, I just said, "Hey, I'm up." Obviously, Galatians 6:9 come to mind, right? Don't grow weary in well doing.
Right.
Um, for in due time you shall reap if you faint not. Then also, what is it, Matthew 11:28-29, where he talks about, come to me, all you are heavily burdened and weary, and I'll give you rest. So basically, I said, those are just really great scriptures that I even apply to my life on a regular basis. And I just wanted to create that into a hook. So I kind of combine the two, and once again, I don't have like any substantial knowledge in creating a gospel song. But I have songwriting skills, so I wanted something that would be biblically based. I didn't want to make anything cookie cutter, but I wanted something that if someone's gonna listen to it, they know that one, I'm acknowledging your pain and our reality, but two, I'm still leading you to the truth and the promise. So let's go from pain to promise, and that's what I wanted with that song. So we start off acknowledging the pain in the situation. Lord, I'm tired of all this stressing. Too weak to count my blessing. Ain't got time for window dressing. I'm just trying to keep my soul intact. And then from there we get to the hook where it says, "But the Lord says
Right.
this." But the Lord says, "Don't go weary and well doing." And that's kind of how the song flowed. And it's just once again, I didn't know AI can do what it did. I didn't know the quality was there. Maybe I would have explored sooner if I knew that. But once I realized the quality they could make from it, I said, man, this could be life changing, not just for me but for others. And we're starting to see that from the testimonials that we receive on a daily basis from people saying how these songs have touched them, and just the situation has been launched to the national level to where people are finally asking the question like, okay, how I'm going to integrate AI into our ministry and how the church should respond to it because it's here to stay whether we like it or not.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because as you were sitting there quoting those Bible verses, I was thinking in my mind about Matthew 27 and 28, talking about the foundation and
Mhm.
how God should be the foundation. And it's clear that He's your foundation. And if He's your
Yeah.
foundation, and you building your house the right way, when the winds and the storms come, that foundation stays strong. Whereas if you build it on sand, it can look beautiful, but when the wind come, it gets
Mhm.
washed away. So it's a beautiful thing to see that that's your foundation, and it's clear even in the music that you're making. I mean, like, you talked about you doing a Christmas EP, a soul for Christmas, right? But you
Right.
also talk about faithful soul, and it feels spiritual in that song. But all your songs have this little touch of God all in them, even the Christmas song. And so that foundation is clear. And so I just want to ask you, just it seems like to me when you're writing, it's kind of like
Mhm.
you just say, God, tell me what to write. Is that the process?
For lack of better words, sometimes you get just a moment of inspiration, or you hear somebody say something, and then it just really hits your spirit, and you're like, man, that's something I would like to touch on, right? So I get in the studio and I sit here for hours, and trust me, my wife gets tired of it because she says, "You think I can't hear you because you're in the basement?" But I hear you,
Yeah.
and it's hours on hours on hours writing, correcting, and even if and I've been open about this. One thing I want to do is destigmatize AI. Right? Let's stop it. It is a co-collaborator in many ways. It's no more than a calculator. So stop trying to assign morality to something that doesn't have none. Otherwise, we'll be banning firearms. But we never say the firearm is at fault. We say it's the user. And
Right.
so here we are.
Right.
Look at the user. Look at me.
Right.
Stop trying to point to him. Look at the person behind it that's wielding the tool, and you'll see why you should be having no issues with it. But yeah, I'll sit there, the lyrics will come to me, and sometimes only a hook. And I get in chat GPT and I feed the overall message to it, the topic I want, and then it'll feedback me something, give me something back. And I'm like, nope, that ain't what I want. And I go in. Or what I really love about chat GPT and just Suno, it helps with my process of elimination.
Right.
Because sometimes you quite don't know what you want, but you find out what you don't want, which helps narrow your vision. And that's really what I use it for. It's like, man, I don't quite know what I want to sound like, but as I do stuff, I'm like, nope, that ain't it, that ain't it, that ain't it. And then when it lands, I'm like, oh man, now we cooking.
It's a wonderful process, and I'm glad you kind of talked about the process, because a lot of people think AI is just, it's no creativity, but it is a lot of creativity, because you have to write the songs. You have to put this together just like you were writing a song that you were going go into the studio and perform yourself, or you was writing for another artist, correct?
Correct. Yeah. AI didn't wake up one day and decided to make Solomon Rain release an album. That's just, if anyone's thinking that, then no, it's not happening.
Now, you also talked about how people fear AI, and how you're trying to take that stigmatism away from people fearing AI. What would you say to somebody who, like somebody like me, right? I have a lot of good ideas for AI. I just don't know how to use AI. I don't
Mm.
know. I don't know. The farthest I've gotten is, hey, Chat GPT, can you tell me what this is? I don't know how to create, but I want to learn. What would you tell somebody like me who's like, "Hey, I want to learn how to do this. I don't know even where to begin how to do it."
Well, thankfully, I'm not the only person interested in AI. So there's plenty of videos on YouTube that you can watch, you can learn from, and kind of and depending on whichever area you want to you want to work in.
Mhm.
But yeah, the more you actually learn to use the tool, the more you can craft it and personalize it and bring about the result that you seek it. At first, yeah, my songs were just kind of all over the place. But then I realized, oh, I can actually put this in here and tell it to do that, and it actually do it. You know what I'm saying? Like if I put this prompt in here it's like, for instance, if I want the beat to go from l- like chill to hype, you can put that in there and it'll make the beat do that when it generates it. And I ain't know that at first until you start watching videos about how you can, craft the songs. So I would just encourage anybody, one, become educated about it. And there's a myth that they're just pirating songs. And the thing is, it is the voices you hear are not the voices of people. They're just pattern recognition that the software has used to generate the vocals. So sure, it's going to sound like something we like because it's based on pattern. Pattern recognition is in all kind of things. But
It's the algorithm when you go on social media. It's the
it's
same
that
thing.
it's the same thing, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah, I just think people once they get a little bit more educated on it, and if people are more honest. One thing I set out to do with Solomon Ray is be honest about it being AI because I don't think we should operate in deception as Christians. So I didn't want to be like, oh, let me pop out, 5 months later and be like, well, by the way, guys, that's not me singing. Nope. If you go to my bios from the beginning, I've always had AI voice. And I didn't know you can add AI info to your content on social media. And once I realized you could, every video since then has had AI info on it. So like I'm not hiding it because I don't want you to feel like you've been deceived.
What
You
was the
know,
biggest surprise though for you, like from traditional artists and production what was the biggest surprise to you when they may have reached out or said made comments on social media about it?
well, one for his friend, right?
Mhm.
That was surprising. I had no idea he would make that comment. And basically, he drove it to the national debate anyway, right? We're having
Mhm.
this conversation because Forrest Frank decided to talk about it. But once again, I've commented on that. I just feel like, he's in a place where you know, it's just funny to me that you won't receive the Grammy reward, but you complain about iTunes charts, which is still reward. And if you don't care about the world, you don't care about the world. That's all I'm
Right.
saying, right? If you
Right.
don't care about the Grammy, you shouldn't care about iTunes charts. But yeah, so people feel a certain type of way when you get to something without all the effort they put in, right? I'm not
Right.
disregarding the years that people put into their craft and into their giftings, but there's a parable about this, and this is Matthew, I believe it's Matthew 20 verses 1 through 16, where it's called about the vineyard man when he goes into the
Yeah.
city and he hires the people in the beginning of the
Yeah.
day, and then he go hire somebody at the end of the day, but
Yeah.
he ends up paying everybody the same amount, regardless of when they came to work. And then people who came earlier was like, hey man, why he getting the same amount that I got? And Jesus basically showing us, man, it ain't about how much work you do. It's just about you coming to work at all.
Right.
And my thing is, get over that. Like, I get it's a sore spot, but this is nothing new. Technology has always advanced. People have always felt like they were being replaced. And the beauty of all is, it's, it's talent just stacked on top of talent. Someone had to learn from this person to bring in this to do that. It's the same process, and I just look at the fruit. Like if we're gonna judge anything, judge just by the fruit that it bears, and just go through my comment sections, go through my mentions, and just see what people are actually saying about the music.
So technology, like you said, is always changing, right? It's always, I mean, I remember, growing up in the early 90s and everybody talking about rap music and how rap music was this and how rap music was that. And then looking at gospel music transition to where it started having rap in it and people were questioning that at first. A lot of people were questioning that at first. I remember that was a big thing in my church. But what they found out was doing that brought more young people to the church. And so it ended up being a great technology switch. How do you stay in front of technology for Solomon Ray? Because it's going to change. We know this is going to change in the next maybe 6 months. It may be something different.
One, get as close to the source and the minds behind it as possible. So I'm
Mhm.
hoping that I can build a relationship with Suno, who also recently just signed a deal with Warner Music Group. I'm pretty sure they'll sign something similar with Sony and Universal here soon. But just get close to the minds, figure out where they want to take it to. Because my thing is, we've already had holograms, and I don't know. I can see technology becoming to where it's more about, I don't know, creativity is limited right now, but
Right.
AI opens the door to release that limit, and that's what I see. Is like, man, we almost can just think, and that's to me is like that's godlike power, right? Where you can think and create. That's close to God we're gonna see. So I don't know that people gonna see the devil in anything that they fear,
Yep.
or what they hear. So my thing is, why not see the God? Like, let's stop looking at the devil and see what God is doing. So that's my encouragement to everybody. But I'm doing my best to work on live shows to get with people who can sing his music live. Come out with music videos. I'm going to keep as much of the human element as possible with who he is, because it's about bringing people together in the first place. So just continue to stream his music.
Well, let me ask you this one last question. For every creative person that's out there who feels discouraged or overlooked, what would you tell them about building something new in the new world? Because, like you said, everybody's going to find something that is demonic in whatever is new. So, what would you tell them to encourage them?
Well, I would just say we're basically at a point in time where you can control the direction if you choose so. So why not let a gospel AI artist control the direction of AI, right? That means we can put the conversation of faith at the forefront of all that we do, even on the technological basis. So let's really talk about it. Let's continue to explore. Don't feel boxed in. No matter what your friends and family may say, if you have a song, if you have an idea, and the Lord is, pressing you to get it out there, give it a shot. Don't be afraid of nothing, and you never know, right? I never knew. If I didn't try, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So I didn't know. I was playing around in the beginning, but that's how God works, right? He'll take the dumb things of this world and confound the wise. Like, he does that on a regular basis. So just try to be useful, right? Try to be the light, try to be the salt, and just be encouraged. Give yourself some time and just do it. That's all I'm leaving with. Just do it.
Tell everybody where they can find you, follow you on social media, all that good stuff before we get out of here.
Yeah, follow Solomon Ray Soul on social media, any social media platform, and also stream his music, Solomon Ray. We're doing wonderful on Spotify and Apple Music and every other place. Be on the lookout for music videos coming soon on YouTube, and major announcements and collaborations that people are definitely going to be interested in seeing and hearing. And yeah, God bless you guys. I'm praying for y'all. Pray y'all pray for me. And let's continue to do the Lord's work.
Amen, brother. We've been talking with my brother right here. Y'all know what he created, Solomon Ray. But this brother right here is a bad brother, Christopher Townsend. Thank you so much for being with us on Common Ground. We will be right back with more great information right here.